Jermell Charlo, as he prepares for his upcoming fight with Brian Castano, says Terence Crawford will not get past Errol Spence Jr. first when they fight. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Quote, he first got to get past Errol Spence, and that ain't going to happen, says Jermell Charlo. He's a tough fighter. He's from Omaha. We know about him. He's a dog. He can fight, and he can go. When we compare opposition, has his opposition been anywhere close to our opposition? Absolutely not. So I can't even look at him like he's done anything in boxing. I mean, he's won world titles at 140. He's won the Undisputed. That's great. But at 154, you're talking about knocking me out and beating me and all this shit. I'm cool with that. That it's whatever. They're fighting on ESPN and their opposition ain't the same as ours. We're in the big leagues. Crawford doesn't mean ish. He ain't in my weight division. He's making 147. He can't beat anybody over there. Jaron Ennis, he can't even F with him. How is he gonna come and talk about knocking somebody like me out? It's whatever. They just do this ish for hype and clout. End quote. So this is what Jermell Charlo said at his media day, and he said a mouthful. I want to know what you guys think. Now, this is the really the only criticism that Terence Crawford really gets. I've never really seen anybody state that Crawford sucks, or, you know, unless they were just outright hating. But I don't even take people like that serious if you're not going to be realistic. But the only real criticism that I've seen for Terence Crawford is his level of opposition. Top Rank, simply put, couldn't get him the big fights, the fights that would mean the most to Crawford's career. Now he's no longer with him. We got to wait and see what manifests and what happens. But Crawford, he's a great fighter. He just hasn't had the same type of fights. And I agree with Jermell Charlo. I mean, if we're looking at Errol Spence opposition, I've always said on my channel that Errol Spence has done the heavier lifting at welterweight. Your claim to fame can't necessarily be what you did in prior weight classes when that has nothing to do with the exact weight class that you're in right now. If we're talking about the consensus #1 welterweight, how could it be the guy who was undisputed in a previous weight class and not the guy who's had the harder and tougher, more daunting tasks in the weight class you're talking about? That doesn't make sense. That's like if we're talking about what's the best pizza, and I'm telling you in the 90s, Little Caesars had the best pizza. But what does Little Caesars pizza taste like right now? They got that $5 hot and ready and it's trash. You know what I mean? So boxing is a sport like what have you done for me lately? And Crawford, he's had moderate type of wins. Like if you look at it, Crawford's last two opponents were guys that Errol Spence had already beaten years before him. So how can anyone say that Crawford has done more at welterweight, the weight that we're trying to determine if Errol or Crawford is the best, when he hasn't had those types of looks? And I think the worst thing is when Crawford was with Top Rank, he said he wanted to fight Pacquiao, and Top Rank had Pacquiao. I want to, it's up to my promoter, but Crawford, and they never made the fight. So with that being said, it is what it is. But he never got those types of fights. And even to this day, if he had already fought Crawford before Keith Thurman, before Ugas beat him, before Keith Thurman had a split decision, before Broner got him, then that would have been something that no one could take away from Crawford's resume. There's not a name like for example, Ugas just lost to Errol Spence. He could say he shared the ring with one of this generation's greatest welterweights, and the past generation, one of those greatest welterweights in Manny Pacquiao. To this point of me recording the video, Boxing Ego, Crawford cannot say that. He cannot say he's been in with this generation's best welterweight, nor the past generation's best welterweight, because he hasn't had those opportunities, whether it's his fault or his promoter, or Bob, whoever you want to. I just go off facts. I don't care about nothing else. I just care about what has happened. So if he would have had Pacquiao, he would have an undeniable name at any point of his career. That's a Hall of Famer, 8-time division champion. So I agree also with Charlo. He says, and I didn't quote all of that, but he basically said stop asking me about Crawford. If you ask me about Crawford, basically you're a bad reporter. And I agree with that. I think, just in general, it's good for clicks and things like that. But Charlo got to get past Castano. Crawford, everyone's been saying they want to see him fight Errol Spence. Let's get through that first before we overly express interest in the fight. I mean, it sounds good. See, we're getting to a point in the sport where some people, they just care about the gimmicks and the charades. Like, you see Canelo and Caleb Plant, they slapped each other and pushed and punched each other, so the fight sold. And that's good and all, but not every fight's gonna be like that. And some people, it's like they're treating boxing like Real Housewives, of ATL or Atlanta and Los Angeles and stuff like that, where they're looking for all the drama and the TMZ clickbait type of things. But boxing is a great sport if you allow it to be. And I don't think we're quite there where it's like Crawford and Charlo, seeing how there's unfinished business between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. After that point, then holler at me about the fight with Crawford and Charlo. And Charlo, he has to still get past his upcoming opponent. Showtime Boxing this week also has Boots Ennis. Let me know how I did in this video. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, subscribe. This allows me to reach more and more boxing fans. So help other boxing fans reach the content. Throw a like on the video and also subscribe. And I'm out.
The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.
Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.